Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss, and I'm popping in today with a practice to help us feel a little more grounded, a little more centered, a little more rooted. Where I live in the world, in the United States, it is the season of fall, and it's beautiful, right? The leaves are changing color, the light is glorious, it's cooler temperatures, but it's also becoming a little drier. And as the leaves are falling like snowflakes, like there's this like swirly whirly kind of energy. Now, in the Ayurveda tradition and teachings, this season is linked with the Vata dosha. And the Vata dosha is this light, airy, moving kind of energy. And when it's in balance, it's wonderful because we feel light, but yet still grounded, but not in a heavy way. We feel like we're in the flow of life. We feel very creative. But when it's out of balance, and it can easily go out of balance because there's so much movement in that energy. When it's out of balance, we feel a little scattered. We feel a little less grounded. We feel a little all over the place. And so, one way we can help to ground and rebalance that energy is by moving and moving slowly with the rhythm of the breath, more specifically, so that we start to link the body and the breath. They don't feel like two separate entities. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to spend some time low to the ground, and moving with our breath. So for sure, have a mat. You might want to have a blanket for a little extra cushioning, and I would also encourage you to have a block. And let's get started. So we are going to start on our backs. There's something to me about just getting the head down, getting it out of the clouds. And we'll just start very simply by bringing your attention to the breath. And over these few moments, all it really is just noticing when you breathe in and when you breathe out. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just notice you're breathing in and notice you're breathing out. And we'll do that for maybe a minute. Now, bring a little bit of your attention to your feet and the way they contact the earth. Even simply noticing if there's more weight toward the outer edge of the feet or more weight toward the inner edges of the feet. And we'll see if there's a way to organize the weight in your feet so you feel it pretty evenly between the big toe side and the inner heel and the pinky toe side and the outer heel. So all of that, trying to find just an even sense of grounding. Even notice how the rest of your body, your pelvis, your ribs, your shoulders, your head, how they make contact with the earth. If one side feels more weighted than the other, and just noticing. And then let's let the arms open out to the side like a T with the palms facing toward the sky. And we'll walk the feet a bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat. And the next time you exhale, let your knees rock gently over to your right. And when you inhale, we'll float the knees up. Again, as you exhale, same side, we're going to rock over to the right. To whatever degree your thighs, hips, knees are willing to do this. When you inhale, rock your knees up. Again, when you exhale, rock your knees to the right. And inhale your knees up. Now, when you exhale and you rock your knees to the right again, go ahead and let that move the whole body over onto your right side. Even your left arm comes on top of your right hand. Now, if you get here and your head would like a little support, you could put a blanket or a pillow underneath. Otherwise, when you inhale, reach your left arm up to the sky and let it open to the left. Let your chest and ribs twist and open toward the sky. And then when you exhale, close your left hand on top of your right and bring everything back to the right. Let's do that again. Inhale, like you're opening a book. Reach your arm up and out to the left. Let your ribs turn so your belly and your chest face a little more skyward. And when you exhale, close everything up. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach up and let it open. And when you exhale, close everything up. Now, the next time you inhale, let the reach of your arm up and open to the left roll you all the way back onto your back. And again, just pause and notice how your body connects with the earth. Anything shifted. And then we'll do all that to the other side. When you exhale, we'll rock the knees over to your left now. And when you inhale, we'll float your knees up. And let's do that 2 more times and see if you can truly move at the speed of your breath. Now, the next time you exhale and rock your knees to the left, let the movement of the knees to the left roll you all the way over onto your left side. So your hips and knees are stacked, your shoulders, hands are stacked. And now your right arm. When you inhale, lift your right arm up to the sky and let it open to the right. Let your ribs turn to the right. And when you exhale, close up your right arm on top of your left. When you inhale, reach your right arm up and open to the right. Let your chest open. So you're just moving into a little gentle twist. And as you exhale, close everything up. We'll do that one more time, exactly like that. Now, the next time you open your right arm out to the right, you roll completely onto your back again. Let that arm help you to come back. And then just pause a moment and just feeling the way your body rests in the ground. Now, with your exhale next, bring your knees toward your chest and let them widen a bit. So they're wider than maybe your ribs. Maybe they're moving a little more towards your armpits. We're going to keep the knees wide. And when you exhale, roll all the way over to your right, then let your left knee eventually come on top. Then we're going to lead with the left leg. Let that roll you onto your back and all the way over to the other side. And then eventually let your right leg, your right arm come on top. As you inhale, lead with your top leg and arm to open up wide and all the way over to the right you go. Let your inhale open the top leg wide onto your back. And as you exhale, close everything on top. And do that one more time to each side. When you get to your left side, pause a moment and find a breath. And then we'll take your right hand onto the ground in front of you and use that to press up to sit. And when you come to sit, we'll stay in this sort of staggered seat, and we'll even walk the right knee back a little bit behind the line of the left foot. Now you can keep your hands on the ground here. We're going to use the feet a little bit more. So root into the big toe, the big toe side of your right foot, your back foot, and let that rotate that thigh open externally. Now, eventually, your front leg, your left leg's got to roll up, and then we shift and we go to the other side. So now the right thigh is the front leg, it's rotated out. The left thigh is the back leg, it's rotated in. And press into that back foot, that inner foot, big toe side of the foot, and let that help you to rotate your thigh out. Keep rotating out. Eventually, let your back leg come up and roll in. And we'll do that again. And as you repeat, you can certainly lighten up your hands. So maybe you go hands-free, but you don't ever have to. You can keep your hands connected for a little bit of support. And take your time. You can feel the rotation and the way the feet maneuver against the earth. So I'm using this as my inhale and this is my exhale. I'm going to go do this one more time. Now, the next time you come back and you've got your left leg forward, your right leg back, go ahead and take that right leg and sweep it around in front of your left leg and then sweep it back. And you can do a little movement of the torso, inhale and exhale. And one more time, sweep it forward and sweep it back. Now, we're going to take that leg forward, fully plant your two sits bones and cross your right shin in front of your left. You're in Sukhasana. Now, if it feels like you're tucked under here, then find your blanket. And I'm just going to keep it in this little thin rectangle fold, but I'm going to sit on the short side of it so that my thighs don't get too caught up on the blanket, really just my sitting bones. We'll see if that puts my pelvis just a little higher than my thighs, a little bit, right? And then we're going to hinge and walk forward. So hinge the pelvis, walk the hands forward, and feel the soft presence of your fingers on the ground, right? See if you can feel your heels of your hands, finger knuckles, the fingerprints. You don't have to fully grip them into the earth, but give them a little press into the ground and lightly pull your hands towards your feet and stretch your heart through your arms. Feel a little bit of length. And then we'll let the elbows soften, let the head soften. But continue to feel that soft presence of your fingers into the ground. And find your breath. And then the next time you inhale, we'll walk it back up. We'll take that front right leg and swirl it back to how we started in that little zigzag sit or Z sit. And then we'll press into that big toe again and we'll swivel over to the other side. Now from here, same idea. You'll take your back leg and start to sweep it forward and sweep it back. And as you sweep it forward, maybe that's your inhale. Maybe here's your exhale. You can play with that. Let's do it again. You can start to rotate it out a little bit. And this time we'll sweep it forward and we will let that thigh rotate out so we come to Sukhasana, crisscrossed legs. Again, we'll sit up as you need to and take a moment just to feel into the way the feet connect to the earth. the way your sitting bones connect to the earth. And then we'll hinge the pelvis and walk the hands forward and feel again the soft connection of your hands into the earth. Bring a little wiggle of the ribs long toward your thumbs. And then we'll let the elbows, the head soften to whatever degree they're willing to soften. Crawl inside and feel, listen to your breath. And then the next time you inhale, we'll slowly walk up. Maybe let the head be the last thing to come on up. From here, we'll gather the legs together. Do a little pivot, however you want to get there. And we'll come on to hands and knees. Now you can absolutely have a blanket under your knees here for a little extra cushioning. I think it's definitely worthwhile. And let's set your your knees as wide as your hip points, right? So not too far apart, not like the sides of my outer hips, but if you feel right in the front of your pelvis, those knobby little spots of the hips, that's where we're going to send the knees. So you've got a good foundation, not too wide, not too close. And then we'll set the hands maybe as wide as your mat. And we'll scooch the hands a little forward so that as you keep your hips over your knees and your thighs are vertical, that the front of the shoulder is just over the underside of your wrist. And spread your fingers and you begin to sense into the center of the heel of your hand, the finger knuckles, all the fingerprints, and even share the weight between the thumb side and the pinky side of your hands. Find your way back to your breath. And the next time you inhale, let's move into a little cow pose. Lift the tail, lift the heart. And as you exhale, we'll curl and round into cat. As you inhale, lift the tail, lift the heart. Keep your strong rooting of your hands. And as you exhale, rock your hips back to child's pose. And if that doesn't work for your knees, you can just rest your elbows on the ground. We'll stop for a breath. Soft face. And when you inhale, root into your shins and circle your arms out and up to the sky. And when you exhale, backstroke your hands back and down to the ground. And we'll do that again. When you inhale, lift the tail, lift the heart. When you exhale, curl and round in. Use your whole inhale to lift the tail, lift the heart. And as you exhale, your version of child's pose. And see where the head can heavy, the eyes can soften. Then root down into your shins so you can rise up and circle the arms out and up. Then as you exhale, a little backstroke of the hands to the earth, come into your table. One more time, we'll inhale, lift the tail, lift the heart. And exhale, curl and round. We'll inhale into that little back bend of cow. And we'll heavy back to child's pose. And let the head soften over. Let your jaw soften. Now this time when you inhale, walk your hands back to your knees and roll yourself up, head last thing to come on up. And welcome a moment just to pause and breathe. Okay, now from here, you could either use a block on the lowest height, or you could fold up a blanket so it forms a very thin rectangular shape. So something like this. I've just folded my blanket twice. Okay, I'm going to use the block on the low height, but you could use the blanket. We're going to come to lie down and just ease down, ease down, ease on down. And set your feet just a few inches in front of your hips so they're not too close, not too far. I want you to still have the sensation that you can rest the heels, the balls of the feet, the toes, and you can still feel a decent connection, inner feet to outer feet. You're going to press into those feet, lift your hips, and slide your blanket or your block under the back of your pelvis. And so as I'm here, I'm not placing it on the fleshy part of my bum, right? So it's not down here, and it's not up in here into like the vertebrae of my spine. It's really on the back of the pelvis, maybe just the lowest of my lower back spine is on there. So the lowest lower back vertebrae might be on there, but really I'm trying to place this on the back of my pelvis so my pelvis can rest. I'll just take a couple of moments here. The head just a little lower than the heart as a way to help shift gears. To allow for the pranic energy that governs the upper half of the body to get a little quiet, to stimulate the aponic energy, the downward grounding energy that governs the lower half of the body to get a little stimulated. And we're also setting up the conditions for our parasympathetic aspect of our nervous system to become a little more dominant here, which is that more soothing, calming energy, as opposed to our more fight or flight, get up and go kind of energy. This is the rest, digest. So as you settle in, just notice, can your ribs and your muscles around your spine soften? The arms and the fingers have a comfortable place to rest and release. Let the muscles between the shoulder blades soften and spread. You can allow the muscles on your face and the muscles on your scalp to soften. As the body begins to soften, let your brain begin to soften and let it gently, gently rest in the soft rise and fall of your breath. Feel your next breath in. Feel your next breath out. And root just a little more deeply into your feet so you can lift your hips up just enough to slide your blanket, your block, out from underneath you and lay your pelvis back down. Take a moment to let everything settle. As you're in this shape, just notice the way your head contacts the earth. It feels like you're tipping toward the top of your head with your chin lifted. Then slip your blanket under the back of your head. Just to bring a little bit of length to the back of the neck. You could even slip your fingers behind your skull and draw the ridge of your skull toward the back of your yoga mat. And then one by one, we'll outstretch the legs and feel their weight. Again, if you've got a blanket nearby, doing nothing, you might even drape it over your pelvis and legs for a little extra weight, which can be very grounding and soothing. And so we'll take a moment just to rest deep into the earth, trusting that the earth is able, willing to support you. So notice in your own body where you're willing to let go. Notice the parts that are maybe holding or bracing and see if they'd be willing to soften. And trust in the earth, trust in its support. And gradually let your attention drop back and down to your breath, trusting in the soft rise and fall of your breath to steady you. And little by little, begin to lengthen your breathing. And as you breathe your next breath in, very slowly, one by one, bend your knees. And then let your hands find your blanket if you've got one on your pelvis. And from the sides, just lift the edges up and slowly lift the middle up and slide it off to the side. And then when you're ready, we'll roll to one side and take a moment on your side to welcome your breath. And then we'll let your top hand find the ground out in front of you. And as you press your way up, see again, could you let the head be the last thing to float up? And feel the parts of you that are in contact with the earth. And feel how you can still manage to find a little bit of length through the spine without compromising your sense of rootedness. So how can we show up in the world open, present, available, and still steady, grounded? As you breathe in, let's join the hands together in front of your heart and we'll bow forward as a way to honor our own light, to honor the light that's all around us. Everybody for today. I hope this practice has helped you feel a little more grounded, a little more rooted, a little more in your body. If you have any questions, comments, please put them in the comment section below. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so. If you've got friends who you think would enjoy what we're doing here, please tell them to come on by and subscribe. And you can join my email list and get more free practices like this. Thisisyourbliss.com. Okay, have a super day, and I look forward to seeing y'all real soon.